This is a wee demonstration about how to start your painting day, mixing and preparing your colours. So I'm using oil paint, and it really only works for oil paint because obviously acrylics will dry too quickly, as will watercolour. If you start this at the beginning of the day, it means that you have plenty of colour to work on blending without mismatching your colours, which is a common practice that happens with people who are new to painting. So to start with, I'm using a hog brush, which is best for this because it gathers up more paint. The synthetic ones tend to be a wee bit thin to collect the paint for mixing, so I'd recommend just a cheap, preferably one that hairs don't fall out of, a nice hog hair brush. So we'll start here with my crimson, so I'll take a good dot of that. And then my ultramarine, and I'm making a lovely purple, pure purple with those two colours. So you can see there's a decent amount. Now if it was a larger painting, I would use a palette knife to do this process if it was quite a large painting. This is going to be for a smaller painting, so I don't need too much and I don't want to waste my paint. So then I'll go into my titanium white, take a bit here, put it on the side, and I'll add a little bit into the side of this. Now you can see it's quite pink, which I would rather in this case it was a bit more purple, so I'm just going to wipe my brush with a rag and take the blue, put it into the mix. You could avoid this if you'd measured it out a bit more accurately to start with, it doesn't really matter. You can adjust it this way too, so that's making a bit more of a purple. Just going to take a bit more, still feel it's a bit red down here, and then we'll go back to our white. You see that's a wee bit better, and it's like you're making a ribbon of colour. Again, put more blue if you feel it's too red, which I think it is. You're looking for a colour that's basically purple that doesn't scream red or blue too much. This will be used today for my skin tones in a portrait that I'm doing. Take a bit more white. So you can see there's a generous amount of paint here, grading down into lighter tones. Now to do the last tone, I'll use a clean brush and put white there, I think, but I'll just move these out of the way. Let's give it a wee wipe. Always have rags with oil paint, it's really helpful to have clean brushes at hand as well. So you can see that's a nice graded range from dark purple right up to a lighter lilac. You can see I'm being quite generous with my paint. So what I'll do is I'll clean that off again, wipe it, and then I'm going to use my yellow, which in this case is actually a quinacridone gold. So yes, just to quickly talk about the colours I'm using ultramarine blue, alizarin claret, or crimson if you don't have claret, and this is a beautiful gold called quinacridone gold. You could also use any yellow for this process, it doesn't have to be this lovely gold colour, but this is one I'm using at the moment. So it's very strong, so I'm just going to put it in the side and then mix it up through my colour mixes. So I've got a balance of the purple with the yellowy tone. Again, this is great for portraiture, using complementary colours. You can see it starts to appear more neutral because this yellow colour is balancing it out. I'm still keeping some of the reserves of the stronger colour up here because I might want it later. But this will tide me over for quite a lot of painting today. Frequent questions will be, will that last until tomorrow? In all honesty, probably not. It will start to dry, so it will be wet, but it won't do what I want it to do. Here's just the pure white, just for the bottom. I like to have a little bit of white with the yellow at the end of it, like that. So I've got a lovely range there of colours. I'll show you just before I stop. I'm going to show you one other mix that I will be using today. Cleaning my brush with a wee bit of turps now because, or white spirit actually, just to clean it, just because I don't want any of the purple in it. So this time I'm using raw umber, and the ultramarine. I'm going to mix up a bit more actually because I need quite a lot of this today. I think a wee bit of crimson went in there, but we'll just ignore that at the moment. So that's my darkest tone. Then we'll go back to the titanium white. You can see that it's making it a grey. Now you could add yellow into this mix. I'm not going to because I know I don't want it to be too bright. What I am thinking, however, is to put a bit more brown into it, just because I know the colours I'm going to be using today. It was a wee bit blue. And that's like another ribbon of colours and tones. Be generous with your paint. I'm going to give it a wee clean. And at the end of that, I'm just going to put pure white. So that's pretty much it. You can do this with a variety of colours. I would recommend that you don't go wild though, because you don't need to have too many colour values made up. This is for the background colour, this is for the skin tone, and that's pretty much the size of it today for me. In that I can add more blue, more white, more yellow at any point that I might need it. So there's the colours I've been using, and obviously titanium white as well. I don't know if you can see all of them in the camera, but that's them there.